How you doing? You good? Oh, sorry, thank you. How you doing? God, it's exciting, isn't it?
So, how's the week been?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I hope things are better outside of the football.
Nah, you keep it. Just keep it. Oh, wow.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to a very, very special Behind the Curtain Interviews of Excellence. We're here for Mental Health Awareness Week. So before I bring my guest on, I do have a little thing to say here. Since 2001, the Mental Health Foundation has been leading Mental Health Awareness Week, bringing the UK and people from around the world together to focus on getting good mental health. And this year, the week takes place between the 12th and the 18th of May. And the theme this year for mental health awareness is community. So we want to use this time right now and use this Mental Health Awareness Week to celebrate the power and importance of community while also being able to spread awareness for mental health awareness. Being part of a safe, positive community, it's vital. It's very vital for our mental health and well-being. We thrive when we have strong connections with other people and supportive communities that remind us we are not alone. And the man I'm about to bring onto the screen, my guest this evening, he is most certainly not alone, and he's here to tell you his journey, his experiences, everything he knows about mental health awareness. And I believe we are going to be getting pretty deep here tonight, folks. So without further ado, my guest this evening, my very good friend, David Forster.
Thank you.
Evening,
Thank
David.
you. Nice to speak to you, DJ. And I'm drinking
Nice
inside tonight.
Oh, there it is.
But the only thing I hate about bottles these days is that stupid top. Oh, I'm just spilled pop all over there.
While I've got you as well, before we begin, can I just say happy birthday, Davey?
Thank you.
It is your birthday, and
yeah,
I just wanted to
43
get that
years
off my
young
chest.
today.
I want 43.
43. I feel 143 though.
Well, I hope you've had a very happy birthday. I know this is going to get quite emotional to you.
Yeah. I just thought, yeah, it's my birthday, and speaking to you, I said I wanted to do it today. So yeah, today is a day as good as any. It's a celebration, and it's also getting my story out there, my journey, and
We've got
yeah,
a lot of people watching us right now, David. Belbrev there, Brian Chaplow's watching. Good
good
friend of
evening,
mine.
Brian.
Good friend of mine, Becky's watching. Ed Hunt, I know that's covering up the screen, so I am going to read it. Good evening, Brevs, Brevettes, and the Reverend David
And the
Forster.
Reverend.
I myself have had mental health struggles, depression, and anxiety. They're not fun to go through. Thankfully, at the other side now, one thing I will say, it gave me a fuller understanding of the Metallica song, The Unnamed Feeling. It truly is an unnamed feeling when you go through it. One I would not wish on anyone, even Persona. Wow, you know
Even
what?
Persona.
Coming from Ed, that's a big thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't wish it on anyone. I've even people that have bullied us, even people that have pretty much people have said to me, "Fuck off and die." I wouldn't even wish. I don't even think I would wish it on them either. What I've been through.
Yeah. Evening, Zoe. And as we begin this as well, I just want to let people know we are not on IWF. We are solely on SME. There will be smoking and there will be strong language and there's going to be content that probably won't be suitable for younger people. That does include you as well, Ethan. Good evening,
Good
Ethan. I
afternoon,
hope you're
Ethan. How
well.
are you, my friend? Hope you're keeping well.
Evening,
Lilith.
Lilith. That also includes you.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Davey, says Brian.
Thank you,
Happy
Brian.
birthday
Thanks a
from
lot.
Becky.
Thank you,
Happy
Becky.
birthday from Zoe, and
Thank you,
happy
Zoe.
birthday from
And
Lilith.
thank you, Lilith, my best friend.
So before I've known you for a while now, a few years, and I do
Yeah.
know bits and pieces of your life, bits and pieces of your life and things you've been through. But before I dive into the questions I've got, is there anything that you would like to explain or tell the people that are watching right now?
Like, about what really? Just so we are
You,
going to go through it. So
we're going to go through a lot. You could introduce
yeah,
yourselves. You could
yeah,
you could warn people.
I mean, my mental health journey. I mean, I'm 43 today. My mental health journey started when I was 9 years old. Most of the people watching this will have either been kids, not even, or not most, especially most of the people in places like IWF wouldn't have even been born when I started on my mental health journey. So it's what I said to you last. What did I say to you last night? If just one person watches this, just one person watches this and takes something from it, I don't care. I don't care if it's one person watching or 100 people watching. Just if one person takes something away from this, then we've done a good job tonight.
I'm almost more than positive that they will. We've got quite a few people watching us, and I'm pretty sure a lot more people are going to come tuning in, especially when they see your big handsome mug, Davey.
Yeah, I don't want to break it. I don't want to break your cameras.
So I do have a lot of questions here for you. Things that I've managed to put together based on things that you've either told me or things I know. So I'm going to start pretty early. You went to a private school.
I did, yes.
I don't want to mispronounce this. The Chorister School.
The Chorister School. We have funny ways of spelling things in this country.
Yeah. I've personally, I've never heard of it. But as I know, it is a private school. Can you maybe let us in on how did going to a private school shape your understanding of identity or belonging? Like, how did it make you feel when you were there?
Oh, God. Yeah, when I went there, I mean, 9 years old, being told by my grandparents, we're going to put you through private education. I mean, think about this. There's four grandchildren. Oh, I mean, my grandparents aren't alive now, so there's four grandchildren, but it was me that they chose to spunk all this money on for a private education. I'm 9 years old, and me nana, very, very dominant woman, very domineering. Like, she was the matriarch of the family. So what me nana said, you it's get in line or fuck off, basically, with her. So how did I feel going there? At first, it was hard. I mean, I always describe myself as I'm the little scruffy kid from the council estate, like in me little rags, and I'm going to a place like that. And I think I told you this. Like I went to school with people whose houses, and this is the early '90s, wouldn't get much change out of £1 million from at the time. So you can imagine how much they would be now, going around in Jags and Mercs and like Land Rovers and Range Rovers. And there was me going. There was me going round. As one kid called it, me battered rust bucket banana mobile. Because my dad used to have this old yellow Vauxhall Astra, and this kid one day said, he's the banana mobile come to pick you up. So I just turned round, and I didn't kick the shit out of him, but I kicked out at him and had a fight with him, and I broke his hand just because I'd had enough.
Yeah.
I'd been going. I was well liked by most of the kids, but there were some of them who were just so far up their own arses. You know the type.
Yeah. Yeah.
So far up their own arses, just wouldn't really have anything to do with us. And I struggled with that. Really, I struggled with that because all my friends were still in local primary. All my friends were still in local primary schools, and there's me being ripped out into a private school. And I pretty much, by the time I got in the system I was in, you leave them schools when you're 13, and you move on. And I'm sure we'll get on to what happens in a bit, because I'll tell you about what happened in a bit. But you move on to other schools, and by the time I got to 13-year-old, I was going into year 9, and all my friends I had when I was younger had drifted away. So going back, as we will talk about, back into the public education system, was fucking brutal.
Damn. So you mentioned obviously you were. Well, I can't remember how you put it before, but basically you had the upper class, and then you had you in this school.
Yeah.
What was it like being? I guess the best way to put it would be a working class kid in such a privileged environment. Were you excluded from cliques? You know how you got the cliques. You've got like the rich kids. You've got the goths. You know what I mean?
No, not really. I'm not really, but it was always there though. Like always the little digs, like about being from a council estate, stuff like that. I mean, I wasn't like you see in like you. Sort of like what you see in American school dramas. You always see like what they call the losers table. There was never anything like that. So I wasn't completely excluded, but it was always there. I mean, there was one incident, and this kid, we still talk every few years. We talk, and the kid who I kicked out at broke his hand when I kicked him, and the school said, "Right, that's enough. He's out." At that point I was out the school. So my mate, and he come from a decent background as well. I mean, do you know Durham at all?
Vaguely.
Do you know where you've got the cathedral? On the other side of the river, opposite the cathedral, there's a street called South Street. He lived up there. Lovely house. And his stepdad was a big doctor. His mum was a high up nurse. His mum, from what I remember, come from a working class background herself, but she ended up marrying a good, decent doctor.
She married him.
Yeah, but her son, good lad, Stephen Jones. me and Stephen had some. We've had some wild times over the years. He went up to school during the summer holidays. He went up to the school to say, "Right, look, it wasn't David's fault. Well, it was my fault." He said, but David didn't instigate it. He was just lashing out. He was defending himself. And then we got a phone call from the school saying, "Right, come up, have a meeting." And I was allowed back into the school for my final year, all because this kid went up and fought me corner for us. And he did come from a decent background as well. So it wasn't. I wasn't excluded completely, but it was always there.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think I know what you mean. at this private school, obviously, you said your grandparents sent you to this private school. Uh, they must have had a vision for how they wanted your education to go. Did that pressure
Yeah.
affect you mentally in any way?
Oh yes. Oh yes, it did. Oh yes, it did. So a few years ago, I mean, I've never seen this man for a while now. He might be dead. He might have died now. I'm not sure. But this man said to me about 10 years ago, says, David, the money your nana and granddad put into your education, you should be a fucking rocket scientist by now. I just thought, no, you don't know the half of it. I just thought, what a fucking ignorant comment to make. And that was, I think that was their vision. Maybe, possibly not like rocket science or anything, but their vision was private school, then onto Sunderland High School, then probably university after that, once I'd done like GCSEs and A levels and that. So that was certainly their vision. I don't know what they want. They never said what they wanted us to do, a lawyer, solicitor, or anything. They never had, or they never certainly had seemed to say any aspirations what they had for us to do. But it was certainly go to university at some point.
Yeah. Well, I know you personally, and you're an extremely smart bloke. Even
Yeah.
my missus has even said this. She says the amount of times where she sat down and just being able to natter on and have really lengthy conversations with you.
Yeah.
You're a really, really smart bloke. So
Yeah.
it goes to show you don't always need that private education.
No, you don't. No,
Ah.
you don't.
But jumping from the private school, you transition from private to public school.
Mhm.
Can you describe how that shift went for you? Like, obviously, you had friends over in the private school. Did you have friends in the public school that you were going to as well?
No,
No,
no, not at all.
that must have
Like I
been
say,
tough.
like all my friends who were in private school, all my friends who were in primary school went to that school that I went to. But by then we were, what, I was 9, I was 13, so 4 or 5 years apart at that point. So they've gone to their school in years. I didn't start till year 9, so they've gone in year 7. They've formed their cliques. By the time I come in year 9, I didn't stand a chance really.
Yeah. Ah. Ruby. Evening, gents. Happy merry
Thank
birthday,
you,
Miss Davy.
thank you, Ruby. Love you too.
Ethan,
From
I'm from
Darlington,
Darlington. Oh, Darlow.
I support Darlington, Ethan.
As the genius, happy birthday,
Thank.
Davy Thunderhead.
I love you. I love you too, Colin.
We all love Colin.
Yeah, I've had some good times. I've had some good times with Colin. Me and Colin love Colin. I love you to bits, my friend. Absolutely.
Such a great bloke.
Yeah.
When you transitioned from private to public school, and obviously all your friends had they'd already got their own friendships and cliques with other people. Did you find yourself a victim of bullying in there, and how did that go for your mental health?
Well, I'm just going to say this. I would have rather have been educated in Guantanamo Bay than what I went through. It was at the start. It was it eased up. By the time I got into year, might have been year 10, halfway through year 10, it started to ease off. But from 1995 to probably to mid 96-ish, 97-ish maybe, I would have rather have sat in Camp Delta in Guantanamo Bay than have to deal with what I went through.
Happy birthday,
thank
David. We're all watching from work.
Thank you, Maureen. I love you too. Absolutely love Maureen.
I love that. The support people are coming out to show you tonight.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I love Maureen. I do love Maureen. Work with her all the time.
Speaking of support, obviously you were bullied. Was there any teachers or adults during those years who maybe tried to help or that you could speak to or go to?
During the first year, no. There was one teacher who did look out for us, and I do believe she would talk to me. Talk to me. Dad used to work in a pub where she used to drink, and I believe she might have even spoke to me dad about it a couple of times. So yeah, I think there was maybe at one point there was one teacher watching out for us. But yeah, there was, apart from that. Sorry, me dog's kicking about somewhere. Sorry.
It's all good.
Well, she can't get through, so she can just stay there. So in the first year, yeah, there was one. I think there was one teacher looking out for us. Going into my second year there, and probably one of the greatest teachers, Mrs. Thurgle, lower to bits. I don't even know. She must have been in her late 50s, in the 90s. So she'd be, if she's not passed away, she'd be in her 80s now. But what a woman she was. Looked out for us. When I did things stupid, would tell us straight. I can remember when I was 15-year-old, I did a homemade tattoo on my arm, needle, Indian ink, Indian ink, and I went into school one day and she just looked at us. She looked at us, shaking her head, wide-eyed. What's that on your arm? It's a tattoo. She went, I know it's a tattoo. What have you done that for? I said, I just thought it looked all right. Looks all right. Yeah, stupid bastard. Wow. But no, she was a great woman, and if she was still, I would love to see her today if she was still alive, because she did a lot for me in the last 2 years of school.
I like that. We had teachers like that at my school. We'd come in early every morning, and he would always. I remember he would blast Tenacious D on the speaker system, and he would let you into his classroom, and he had his own guitar, and he would rock out science teacher, Mr. Black. I remember Chris Black, fantastic.
Yeah, this Enid Thurgle, she was that for me. Absolutely great teacher. She used to in my last year. She used to run what was called, if anyone on here has been to Easington School, I don't know if they still do it now, but they used to have a thing called the Pupil Improvement Room. That's when you get sent out of your lesson. Instead of going to, we used to have a thing called on-call. You'd go to the on-call if you got kicked out of your lesson. Whereas Mrs. Circle used to run the Pupil Improvement Room. It was a form of on-call, but that's where you would go. That's where you would go when you got kicked out of your classes. And I spent the best part of a year in the Pupil Improvement Room. And it was great because we got to play in there. We had to do our work, but we got to play a championship manager for the best part of a year in that class, in that room. Sorry. So, but she was great. She was all about getting the best out of us, the best that she could, and the people that were in that room. She did, although we didn't get the best exam results, she got the best. She did get the best out of us.
Yeah. Sometimes that's all it is, man.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that. You need that one teacher who, maybe you don't learn as much, but it makes you a better human being.
Yeah, and as well, what she did as well, like the school would arrange days out, but the bad kids wouldn't get to go because they'd been naughty. Yeah. And what she did a couple of times was organise trips for us to the Metro Centre. Can you remember the old bowling alley and Laser Quest? Laser Quest at the Metro Centre, and I remember she organised a couple of trips for us, like the ones that wouldn't go on the normal school trips. Would organise a trip for us to go to like Laser Quest and bowling and stuff like that. And brilliant. I thought that woman was a class act.
I love it.
Yeah.
So during school, when you were going through all of these hard times and mental health struggles, do you think there's any signs back then that others missed that could have pointed to any future mental health troubles that you had?
Well, back then there wasn't the awareness there is now. Definitely not. You were just told, and I fucking hate it when people say this. You were just told to man up or grow up hair. And I fucking hate it when people say that. It's the worst thing. It's the worst thing you can say to someone who's down. Grow up hair. What does it even mean? Do you know what I mean? Man up. What does that even mean? At the end of the day, but that's how it was back in the day. So yeah, the signs were definitely there. I was skipping school. Running from me problems. I wasn't reporting it. I would walk out of classrooms crying with people laughing at us.
Wow.
Yeah, with people laughing at us because I was as they saw it, probably being too sensitive, too emotional. And I remember my mum used to work at a place just around the corner from school, and this kid had just kicked the crap out of us. So I thought, right, I'm not going to my next lesson. I know where I'm going. I'm going to go and see my mum. Went round the corner, saw my mum. Mum's right, I'll come round to school with you. And I'll never ever, even if I lose my memory, I will never forget what my head of year said to my mother. Well, David is a disruption in class. He's the class clown. It's obvious that people are going to slap him about a bit. At the time, I didn't think much of that at the time, but when you look back now, that's like,
That's
wow,
disgusting.
that is disgusting. If a teacher said that now, they would be cancelled like that.
If a teacher said that now, one of two things: either the kid would slap them about, or the parents would.
And then I'm just going to move on a little bit here, just the way teachers were with me. So the deputy head, I'm not going to name names or anything, but the deputy head of that school at that time once said to me, because I'd had a fight with a kid and he caught us, and he had us pinned up against the wall, right in me face. My nose was touching his nose, and he turned round and said to me, David, in fact, I'll tell you two things. What he said to us: what are you going to do? What are you going to do now, David? What are you going to do? You're going to run away? You're going to run to your social worker? You're going to run away, run to your social worker and tell them that the big nasty man has hurt your feelings? And then what are you going to do? Are you going to go and take an overdose and do stuff like that? And yeah, again, I didn't think nothing of it at the time. Ran away, screaming, ran away, crying again. And when he said that, and that's exactly what I went and did. Went and took an overdose and took the hospital, stuff like that. And I told him, I can't remember if I told anyone about that, but at the time, people were saying, report him. And I was like, who am I to report him? All they'll come back with is, you're the naughty kid trying to tarnish the good reputation of a man who served probably at that time 40, 50 years in the education system. Yeah. And there was just no way I was going up against him at that time and winning.
No, that's, yeah, I don't want to say it, but it's not corrupt. It's just they've all got each other's backs.
Yeah, exactly. You're going up against the man, against the system.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, I just at the time, I don't think I'd have been able to handle the way I was being able to handle a fight with them. And it's sad, but that's just the way it was.
Guarantee it wouldn't be like that now.
Hell no, it wouldn't.
So you're going through all these struggles at school, but how did this affect your behaviour once you got back home at the end of the day? Did you lash out? Did you conceal yourself in the room?
Did I lash out? Oh yes, I lashed out. Arguments. Started with arguments, skipping school. Then obviously when you get caught, there's the dog. Obviously when you get caught, the arguments start. And you don't tell what's going on. You don't say, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm all right. No, when you know there's not, and you know you should be talking about it. So it starts with that, and then as time goes on, skipping school more, and then there was one day I'd come in and I'd had the absolute living shit kicked out of us, and still wouldn't talk about it.
How did you cope? What were like some of your coping mechanisms?
I didn't. I just shut down. I wasn't even living at the time. It was just an existence. It wasn't living. And it was horrible. Absolutely horrible. But yeah, so just going back to it, and then you skip school more. Parents get more angry. And then I skipped school. I'd skipped school one day. Got arrested. For breaking into an old building. It was an old derelict building.
I was about to ask. Do you mind me asking what for?
Breaking into an old derelict building. We'd been inside, and I was on the roof just pulling tiles off the roof and chucking tiles about. And then this cop, and then I see the police. Tried to run away. But yeah, recorded. He was a fucking horrible bastard as well. Like I was pulling faces at him in his rear view mirror, and he pulled the car over. And again, it was a time when he'd have probably gotten away with it. He says, "If you keep on doing that, I'll jump in the back and I'll kick the fucking shite out of you." And wow, he was a horrible man. I'm not, like I say, I'm not going to name names or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was a horrible man. People from, if I said his name, people from Merton. Thank you, Jamie, Jam Dog there. Thank you, love you to bits, big fella. But people from Merton, the old, like my generation, would know this cobber. He was horrible. I'll give you his nickname. He looked like, can you remember Eric Cantona?
Yeah.
In his prime, looked like Eric. He looked like Eric Cantona. Hello, Ali, all right, mate.
Mental health issues on. Yeah, Becky. There.
Yeah,
Absolutely
definitely
no joke.
not. Definitely not. But yeah, then after that, things had happened, and that was the first time I ever went into a care home. Point blank refused to go home. Ended up in a place in Darlington.
That literally leads on to the next question. You
All
spent
right.
time in care. Can you tell us what that experience was like for you?
Well, the first time I went into care in Darlington. It was only a 3-day emergency placement while they decided what to do with us. After 3 days, I went in there on the Friday. I went to school on the Monday, and I went back to my nana's on the Monday afternoon. Didn't want to. I wanted to stay where I was. I loved it. So I'll just go through briefly a bit here. So I was at my nana's. Then I went back. I moved back home with my mum. So I got sick of me. I just got sick of me nana's. I just couldn't buy being there arguing with her, running away and stuff like that, and ended up getting arrested. Right, I didn't get arrested. I ran away from home, and the police picked us up and took us into the cells. So that wasn't an arrest. So I ended up going back to my mum's, and just from there, it spiraled from there. Like when I was in and out of care for over a year, well over a year before I was able to get settled. But before we get up into that, there's a lot of stuff what led to that. So after I went back to my mum's, it was just a case of the same old. Here we go again, skipping school. I got in with a couple of older guys, again not naming names. And there was one guy in particular. I was 14 at the time. He would have been 28, 29 at the time, and I was absolutely enamored by him, loved him, had his own house, was married, kids and everything, and I loved him. Later found out that he was probably grooming us, but not for what you think though. Not for what you think. I think I've told you this. Not for what you think. He was wanting to. He was a weirdo. When I look back now, wanting us to. Yeah, when I look back at it, yeah, he wanted us to have sex with his wife, basically. And while he watched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh, my friend Josh, if you're watching this, he's a cook.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, wanted us to have sex with his wife, basically. But I was that
much love from Walker.
Love you, Walker. Love you, Walker. Walker, tell your lass I'll be round later for the usual. So yeah, this guy, I was absolutely not in love with him. Not in love with him. That's not the. I loved him, but not like that way. If you know what I mean. I was taken in by him.
Yeah.
And I got filled in. He got on the wrong side of some people in Merton at one point. Nearly killed someone. And then this lad who he nearly killed caught up with me, and fucking 3 of them filled me in one night. Guilty by association, I guess. So I went to him. I said, "Look, this has just happened. I've had the ever-living shit kicked out of us because of you. What are you going to do about it?" I said, "Right, Davey, what we're going to do, we're going to top ourselves. Right, let's do it." Suicide. So 3 of us formed a suicide pact. We went to South Shields. Yeah, went to South Shields, and because I was all right, because at the time I wasn't I'm still not a big drinker really, but there was 2 of them. They were down in amitriptyline, Prozac, painkillers, it was like a walking pharmacy. But what they were doing, they were downing them with whiskey, whereas I didn't like whiskey. I still don't really like whiskey. I was downing them, if I remember rightly, with Dr. Pepper because I didn't really drink at the time. So anyway, one guy in the end, he got cold feet in the end. He went and phoned an ambulance. I was going to do that with him, and I ended up running away with the other guy, and we went and parked. Do you know where Little Haven Car Park is in South I think it's called Little Haven Car Park in South Shields.
I'd probably know it by sight.
Do you know where Haven Point is, the swimming pool?
Yes.
It's basically just behind the fun fair. So me and him drove off fucking flying around South Shields, end up going parking in there. He falls asleep, I fall asleep. Next thing I hear is bang, bang, bang on the window. I'm looking up this big burly fucking copper. They'd been looking for us. They'd seen us fuck up. The ambulance had seen us fuck off and reported it to the police. And we get taken away. Luckily, we were all right. I'm still here. He was all right as well. But I was told, I don't know if this was to scare me. I was told by a doctor, if the police hadn't found you when they did, you would have woke up the next morning. He wouldn't. I would have woke up next to a corpse. So if the doctors weren't, like I said, I'm not sure if they were trying to scare us or what. But they said he would have died that night if we hadn't been found. And imagine what that would have done.
That would have fucked you up even more.
Yes, it would have.
Wow.
But after that, like obviously, big police investigation about it. We're on the front. We were on the front page of the paper the same day Tony Blair won his election in 1997. That's how big it was. That's sort of how big a thing it was. I'm sure we took up the front page. What we did, we weren't named in the paper. I don't know if they were, but I certainly wasn't, because I was only 14-year-old. But we took up the front. I'm sure we took up the front page of the paper alongside Tony Blair's landslide election victory in 1997. But going on from that, there was a police investigation, and he would have been charged with all sorts. But he ended up. I'm sorry, I was reading that comment there.
What I think, it's pretty sad that many people struggling with mental health issues, but they don't show it, and then they snap and step out of their life.
Yeah,
basically,
yeah.
You'll get to a point.
Done that. So yeah, he would have been charged with everything the law could throw at him. We're talking, would have been drink driving, because he'd downed fucking half a bottle of whiskey. Then there would have been charges for the medication, what he'd given out to us. Then there would have been charges, things like endangering a child, possibly, because I was only 14.
Yeah.
So there was all kinds, and he's a fucking crafty one, him. He managed to get out of it by signing himself into Cherry Knoll Hospital, sectioned himself, and that's how he got out of it. But what was said at the time as well was, I'd said to me, I remember saying to my psychiatrist, what would have happened if that went to court? Would my testimony have meant anything? He said, you would not have been able to give evidence. I said, oh, why is that like? He went, you would have been destroyed when you're being cross-examined. And yeah, I never ever, years down the line, I was thinking, like, yeah, I wanted justice for that, but never got it, was never going to get it. And I was never going to get, well, until now, really get me word out really about that, how I felt about it.
Yeah. That kind of leads into the next one a little bit. You have lived through some extremely traumatic events.
Oh, yes.
Stuff we haven't mentioned yet. Stuff we might not even mention. How has keeping silent affected your healing over the years?
Well, it hasn't helped us heal, because it's still there. By not talking about it, stays there. Talking about it, when you talk about it, and I have done on and off over the years. I've told people some things, what's happened. There's some things I can't really talk about for various reasons, which I won't get into. But yeah, just staying silent hasn't helped at all. It doesn't, because I think when you talk to someone about it, you're able to process it as you're going on, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And able to get it back into that little box in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
And it's only been recently, the last 7-8 years, when I have started to come out more about my mental health.
What's made it difficult to speak about those experiences? Was it harder back then? And if so, what do you think made it harder to speak about it back then than as opposed to now, doing
Definitely harder back then.
live?
Definitely harder back then, because there wasn't as much support back in the late 90s. There was, in fact, there was support there, but it wasn't much. In my case, it was going to talk to a psychiatrist every week, and more often than not, we talk about how nice a day it was. Whatever that would do. Never really talked about my problems, what was going on. Just we would pretty much sit there. He was an arsehole anyway, that psychiatrist. But yeah, we'd just pretty much sit and talk about the weather. There was no support. There probably was support back then, just I didn't know how to access it. But it's only been probably the last 10, 15 years when we've started to come out and say yes, men do suffer. I mean, me granddad used to dismiss me mental health. Used to dismiss that I had mental health problems. And he was a man who worked on the shipyards. He was in the RAF. He worked on the mines. He was a hard man. And I think he just saw it as his generation. You just got on with it. And I think that was the big stumbling block back in the 90s, was you just get on with it. And it's only been within the last generation that we have been able to have this conversation openly.
Evelyn Blue Brave, I hope you're doing all right. Kind of actually seeing a wrestler there, it brings me on to a question I wanted to ask. We met through wrestling.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Has that helped over the years? Having maybe an outlet or something you can use to get those things in your head out there physically?
Yeah, my journey in where do I even start with my journey in wrestling?
I mean,
yeah. I was given an opportunity. I've been given opportunities in wrestling. I think we all know that, and I'm not right now going to go too much into that. But yeah, I had a good James. I mean, for where me and him are now, gave us a hell of an opportunity. And we've used me mental health in storylines before. We've done this before. But the difference between then and now is this is my narrative. It's not being directed by somebody else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was able to sort of get some younger out when I've been like the Reverend, and when I've been all shouty and stuff like that. That yeah, was a good outlet. Just able to be able to scream and just get it out there.
I know exactly how you feel.
Yeah, yeah,
exactly. For those who might be watching, or those who are going to come back to watch, for those afraid to talk about their own traumas in their life, what would you say to them if you could speak to them directly right now?
Don't suffer in silence. Don't suffer in silence. There was always somebody out there who you can turn to. Whether it's me, whether it's you, whether it's anybody in IWF or in Imperial Wrestling, anyone, don't suffer in silence. Speak to someone. If you can't speak to them, I can see the little banner going across the bottom there for the Samaritans. They will be happy to help you. There's also other organisations out there, not just the Samaritans. You've got is it Andy's Man Club? Stuff like that.
Yes.
I'm talking specifically about for men here. Andy's Man Club. There's another organisation which I've been involved in myself at some point a few years ago, called Man Health. There's another one. So my message to anyone who might be sitting there now watching, thinking, I've got no one. I'm all alone. No, you're not. You're not alone. And I can promise you with all my heart, you are not alone. If you've got a problem, reach out. Reach out before you do something stupid. Or before you think, sorry, I'll rephrase, before your mind gets to that point, before you get to that dark place that you think there is no turning back, there is always a way back. Reach out. That's all I can say.
There's a powerful quote I read. I would rather listen to your story than read your obituary.
Yes, I've never heard that, but I like that.
Yeah,
I do like that.
And it's true. My friend Becky can never suffer alone. I'm also listening. Yeah, Becky, very good listener, very kind person.
That's good.
Mental health, it can hit us all for many different reasons, anytime. And one of the big causes that I personally know as well, and I know you do, Davey, is grief and loss. Whether it could be the death of someone, it could be a relationship falling apart. I know that you've lost several loved ones, whether it be through death or divorce. How did those losses affect you mentally?
Well, I left care in 2001, and I still wasn't right at the time. I'll just take you back a little bit. So where I was in 2001, 19-year-old, one of the worst things that happened in my life. I'd run away from home. I'm not going into why I ran away from home, because I don't know if the statute of limitations are up yet. So I'm not going to get into why I ran away from home. I ran away from home, ended up in Cornwall, a place called Red Ruth in Cornwall. So I'm in a bar in Cornwall, 17-year-old, thinking I'm streetwise and street savvy and stuff like that. I get talking to this guy and buys us a beer. And then the next thing I really remember is I'm back in Durham. It's 4 days later. I've got hardly anything on. I'd lost my coat somewhere. So I'm walking around. Luckily, this is in the summer. This is late May. I'll tell you when it was. Can you remember the day after Man United won the treble in 1999? That's when all this kicked off. And why the date stuck in my mind? Why I never tried to push it to the back of my mind, but that date always stuck in my mind. I think it was the 26th of May 1999 when this happened. So I get back to Durham anyway, and people noticed the difference in it straight away. I didn't know anything, absolutely scruffy. I'd somehow made it. We'd figured out that I'd gone from Red Ruth to Plymouth, or Exeter or Plymouth, and then I made it up to London, then from Paddington across to King's Cross, and then back home. And I did that without even knowing I did it. I managed that somehow. But what had happened was in the days after, people were saying, it was like, fucking hell, like, what's that on your clothes? And there was evidence of sexual assault, basically.
Yeah.
So me staff in the children's home, well, you can report it, but there's a 1 in a fucking million chance of the person getting caught. It happened like 600 mile away. And I just said, no, I don't want to report. I don't want to report this. It was embarrassing, degrading, humiliating that it happened. And I just wanted to try and put it, obviously it never did. I just wanted to put it to the back of my mind. And so come 2001, when I moved back home, I haven't told anyone this. Maybe only 3 people in the world at this time know this. So back home, still got a lot of problems at home. And then in 2002, my nana died suddenly in 2002, and I hadn't spoke to her for months in the lead up to it. She went to London, had a fall, broke a hip, and was come home. She was in hospital in London for about a fortnight. It was round about the first anniversary of 9/11 when she died in 2002, in September 2002. So after that, after she died, I couldn't see me I could not go and see me granddad for a few weeks after our funeral, because my image of me granddad was big, hard, tough man, and to see him reduced to that in church was soul destroying. Like, he was a part of him died with me none of that day. But after that, I'd started to open up to a few friends, and I started helping look after me granddad and stuff like that. And that was actually when I first started to talk about my mental health, was in 2002. And I was helping me granddad and stuff like that. And even he, at one point, turned around and said, "Yeah," he said, I can see you've got a serious problem, David." Because I'd kicked off with him over something. I can't remember what he'd said to us, but he said, "Yeah, I can see you've got a problem, son." And me and him sort of bonded, did bond over that. When he died, though, wow, that was like me heart being ripped out. I come home after his funeral, and I went into my bedroom, and I didn't surface again for 3 months after my granddad died. And then I think things were, I don't really know how to describe it. Because when my granddad died, it was that sudden, and the day he died, I went to hospital, and he was due to go to hospital anyway. He was due to go for a blood transfusion, and we were sat on the ward while he was waiting to go, and I kept saying to him, "I'm going for a tab, Granda. I'm going to go for a fag and phone me mum. Let me mum know how you are and that." And I just kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And in the end, he said, "David, will you just go for a frigging fag and go and phone your mum?" So I'll go out, I light my cigarette up, and I hadn't even put the phone to me ear. This woman come running out and said, "Yeah, I think you want to come back in. Something's happening to your Granda." Like, what's going on? So I ran back in, and this doctor pulled us into a side room, and I was fucking raging with the doctor. Like, what? I'm not telling you what. I'm like, "What's going on? What? Just tell us what's going on, so I can phone me mum." And I'm not telling you. You are not the next of kin. You have no right knowing what's going on and stuff like that. And then I just remember me mum coming to the hospital, and the doctor is sitting telling me mum, my hand, I had like a fist on the desk like that, and me mum, I can just remember me mum putting her hand on mine like as if to say, "Don't." I was going to jump over the desk and rag the doctor all over his little room, just not because he wouldn't tell us what was going on, just because of how insensitive he was. He could have dealt with us a bit more sensitively. But yeah, and that it was that took a toll on us as well. Like, that I never even said goodbye to him before. I just walked out the room as if I'm just going for a fag now, because I was expecting to walk back in and see him 5 minutes later, and I never got to. And that really killed us. That. After that, we go on. I mean, we've all lost people, but 2015, lost my sister. That was me and my sister, me and Alison. I don't know if there's anyone here if there's anyone here from Merton watching, they'll know. The old, like my generation, will know how Alison. She was a force to be reckoned with at times. That girl had a rivalry right up until the day she died. I mean, I'm just gone 43 now. I'll have been 33 when she died. But we had a rivalry right up until the day she died. And that one, I remember going into hospital. And I can remember I remember them getting, me mum and dad getting the phone call. They'd been in to see her that afternoon, and then they're getting the phone call, and all I remember is hearing me dad say, "You're joking." And I'm sat in the stairs. I'm sat on the stairs listening at this point, like, you know, like when you listen to your mum and dad arguing on a night, and you're sitting on the stairs and you're trying to figure out what's going on, and I'm sitting listening, and I'm thinking, "Don't say it, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it." I'm talking to myself at this point. I think my mum was on the phone, and my mum comes out, and I'm like, "Mum, don't say it. Don't you dare. Don't you fucking dare say what I think you're going to say." And my mum, she says, says, we've been called to the hospital. We're going to have to, we think this is it. And I said, I'm not coming with you. I cannot come with you, Mum. I just can't do it. I can't do it. And my mum just, I can't remember exactly what she said, but it was words to the effect of, just grow up, David. You need to do this. If you don't do this, you'll regret it for the rest of your life, son. And I think she said words to the effect of, I don't want to leave you in the house on your own. To stew on it, to think about it. And I can just remember the conversation in the car going through, like, my mum was saying, I think this is it. I think she's dying, or she's died, and we got there. Yeah. All I remember about getting there was I'm just sat gripping onto me mum like a child gripping onto his, like a child gripping onto his, like their mother. And all I can remember is the doctor saying, it was just 5 words when I remember. So unfortunately, she has died. And yeah, I didn't lose it. I thought I would have lost it. And it was just going into a different mode. I remembered how I was after my granddad died, and I thought, I can't do that again. I was just getting into a relationship at the time, and I thought if I did that, I would ruin the chances of that relationship. And although, yeah, Stacey, although we did go on to get married, and that ended up being a toxic relationship. But at that time, she was an absolute superstar at the time. First thing she said was, I spoke to her on the phone on our way home, spoke to her on the phone, and she said, David, she says, look, we've only been together a few weeks. In fact, it wasn't even that, was only about 8 or 9 days. I'll step back if you want us to. I'll give you some time. And I just turned around and I said to her, I says, no, you can't step back. I don't need you to step back. I need you there, like front and centre. Told what happened to me granddad, and I says, I don't need no one stepping back. I can't do that again. And I just said to my mum the next day, I says, I'm going to go out. I'm going to do things as normal. Not put up I wasn't to put up a front or anything. It wasn't like a grand spectacle to say, I'm fine, I'm just getting on with life as normal. It wasn't about that. I knew if I'd stayed in the house, I would have retreated to my room, and I would have stayed in there for months. And that was all about getting back out there as quick as possible. Because after me granddad, it's the longer you leave something, the harder it gets to reverse it at the end of the day. And the next day I was back out, but yeah, and then her funeral came. I must look fucking ridiculous at her funeral. At the 23rd of December 2015, I step out the funeral car. And imagine this, I've got sunglasses. I've got middle of December, just before Christmas, I've got my sunglasses on. And someone asked us, why are you wearing sunglasses? And I think the answer was, I don't want anyone to see us crying. I don't want to, I didn't say the words, I don't want to look weak, but I didn't want to look weak, basically.
Yeah.
So I was ridiculously walking around in December with a pair of sunglasses on. I must have looked fucking ridiculous.
You mentioned your partner at the time helped you through this difficult time. Was there anyone else who helped you through it? Did you have anybody else?
Yes, and I've also lost him as well in the last few years. There's a guy who used to run a shop on the terrace in Merton. Billy Brass, lovely man, great man. He died last year. He died beginning of last year. So I would always, and there wasn't a day went by at that time when I wouldn't go in the shop and talk to him. I mean, he'd lost his wife 5 or 6 years before, so his sort of social outlet at that time was in his shop, and I would go in and talk to him. I could walk in there at dinner time and we'd be still talking when he's kicking us out the shop to close it at 5 o'clock. So yeah, I would always go to him, and he would always say to me, like, look, David, I know you're struggling. If you ever have a problem, doesn't matter the time of day, ring us. And he was great. He was great as well. And he was one of the ones who helped me get my job. He was one of my referees. Him and Colin were my referees for the job. And I remember going the day I was offered the job. I remember going in and telling them, "Oh, I've got the job. Will you be a referee for us?" And like, yes, of course I will, with pleasure. And I says, oh, honestly, I cannot wait till you get to see us starting work and stuff like that. That was in November 2020. What we're on now, 25. So it would have been November 2023. Then on Christmas Eve that year, he said to me, he says, David, he says, I've got terminal cancer. And I was like, oh, no. Right. I says, how long? And he says, at the time, he said, it was, how long's a piece of string?
Oh.
So I was like, oh, thank you. Thanks for the Christmas present. But yeah, so we got through Christmas. And then I saw him a day, because he goes, obviously went away to his family for Christmas. His family's scattered all over the country. And came back, then went away for New Year, came back. I was in the shop one day, and I took a photo with him one day, and I looked at the photo, and I thought, I'm putting the photo on Facebook. I kind of put the photo of him. You would see like his skin was jaundiced, yellow. So I ended up putting the black and white. I ended up putting like a black and white filter on the photo, posted the photo that day. Then the next day he passed out at work, took the hospital, and I never saw him again. He died about 10 days. He died about 10 days later. The day I was going to go in, and I sent him a message one morning, said I'll come in one day. So I'll come in and see you tomorrow. He was like, yeah, that's fine, that's great. And then I seen a message on Facebook saying that his health had declined, and that his family had been called to his bedside. And yeah, losing him was hard, because I was only, when he died, I'd have been 4 weeks away from starting work. The day of his funeral was February 2024. I think it was February the 2nd. 10 days later, I started work. So he never ever got to see us. He never got to see me start work, and that was hard. That was tough, because I really wanted him to see us getting into work. He should always support us, always there for us, and
Yeah, that one was hard. It's the times of your life you learn who was there for you and who's not.
Yeah, and I'm sort of going through that now, like learning who's there for us and learning who isn't there for us. I think you might know what I'm referring to.
I do.
I am learning a lot. I am learning a lot at the moment. Who's there and who isn't. And the ones that's there for us, absolutely great. Love you to bits. Anyone who's not there for us, fuck you.
Yeah.
And that's my message. That is my message. If you're not there for us, fuck you.
You mentioned not too long ago about your partner, about your marriage, and you said it was a toxic relationship. Can you tell us how did that end, and how did it affect your emotional well-being? That's if you want to talk about it.
Yeah, I don't mind talking about it. How did it end? I walked out. Basically, that's how it ended. I was up against a family all the time. They were horrible people, really horrible people. I'm not going to say what I do anyway, because it's fucking horrible. What I was going to say is absolutely horrible, so I'm not going to say it. But yeah, they're horrible people. A mother once said to me, because I've got quite a specific problem. I'm not going to say what that problem is here, because there's people who don't know what that problem is, and I don't want that to be used against us in some environment. So I'm not going to say what that is. So she knew this problem I had, and she turned around and says, I've got a bag of medication upstairs, I've been saving it. Like, right, okay. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what are you going to do? Going to go and fucking top yourself? That's going through my mind. I didn't say that. And she went, it's yours if you want it, David. Go and top yourself.
Oh,
yeah. She said that. She said that to us. And then when I brought it up with the missus, oh, she's got bipolar. She doesn't really know what she's saying. And I'm thinking, yeah, she knows exactly what she's fucking saying. You don't if she did, even I don't know if she did or not hoard medicines or what, but you don't say something like that and just able to brush it off with, she's got bipolar, she's not thinking about what she's saying.
Nah, it's not an excuse.
Yeah, no, and we all know people who use their mental health to try and get out of situations.
Yeah.
We both know people like that.
Yeah. It doesn't take accountability away. It doesn't.
No, it doesn't. And then it would go on. It would go on, and I'm like, I want to do something about. I want to stop them. They're telling lies about us. They're trying to kill us. But they're telling lies about us. Luckily, not many. They didn't really have like a big outlet to spread the lies. So luckily, it never got like far and wide. But my ex-wife, she's got I don't even know how old the kid will be now, about 14 or 15 the kid will be now. They coached that kid to tell a story about how I'd slapped this kid about when I hadn't. So here's a story for you, right? So when I get divorced, I get the divorce proceedings, I get served with the proceedings. And there's a paragraph in there what says that I was abusive to this kid. So just pretend you've got a granddaughter, right?
Okay.
Think about this. You've got a granddaughter. I saw my ex-father-in-law one day. When I was in my mate's shop in Merton, and he walked in, and I just stood there, eyes on him all the time. Think about this. If I'd hurt his granddaughter, wouldn't you think? When he sees me, he's going to come at me. He's going to come at me. He's going to want to kill. He's going to want to kill us. He's going to want to bury us. If your granddaughter or your daughter has been abused, and then you see that person who supposedly abused them, you're going to fucking go. You're going to play hell with them.
Yeah.
Yet I stood in that shop and I watched him. So originally I thought, oh, here we go. Something words are going to be exchanged, but he didn't. I'm stood watching him. Gets his stuff and just walks out. Not a word. I saw him again yesterday. Actually. Come to think about it, I saw him on the bus.
Using mental health as an excuse for poor behaviour and conduct as a person is cowardice, pure and simple. Yeah.
Exactly, Ruby. Exactly. Hello, Nathan. You all right, mate?
Nate. Hope you're doing good, bro.
Love you, Nate. I love you to bits, buddy. But yes. If that was my daughter, and I saw anyone who I thought abused her, I'd fucking kill her. There'd be nothing left for the police to find.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
And I just thought, what a coward. You're a family of cowards. You lie to get your narrative across. And yeah, I've beaten you at the end of the day, because you can't even look at us. None of them could. I've never seen her. I've never seen her mother. I've never seen her and her sister. She's in fucking cloud cuckoo land as well. Making lies up. But yeah, I was absolutely stunned when. Yeah, no, Nathan. Yeah, it's the same with all of us, Nathan. It's close to all of us. That's why we're having this conversation. Evening, Mr. Milligan. And Nathan.
He says get. He's calling us gets.
Evening gets. Shut up, yourself, get. but yeah, and telling lies, but yeah, at the end of the day, I was absolutely heartbroken when that divorce came through. When I saw that, because at the time Casper was only, he'd have been 3 or 4 months old when that hit the floor, and luckily, I'd said to him, I can remember saying to Amanda, like, look, it's a good job you know who I am, because if you didn't know who I am, then saw that.
Yeah.
What would that say? And you know what I mean? It's yeah. That was an awful time, horrible time.
During this time, being I don't want to say trapped, because you Davy dudes. No one traps Davy dudes.
Yeah.
Can
no one puts Davy in the corner.
That's it. Can you maybe talk us through, or talk to the viewers through some of the things that what does emotional abuse look like to someone that's already going through mental health struggles?
I don't really know. I cannot really answer that question. I don't really know.
I mean, I guess
But
it's different for everyone.
yeah, but for me, it was people would say like there's the element of control.
Yeah.
Probably gaslighting, as a lot of gaslighting as well. Definitely gaslighting. And towards the end, I walked out in 2000 and we got married in 2017. I walked out in 2018. We decided at that point that I would look to get help for my mental health problems, and I would find my way back. In 2018, or was it 2019? I had a big mental breakdown. I was in Peterlee one day. I saw a kid who bullied us in school, and for a brief moment, I lost it. I physically felt like I was 14-year-old again, and this kid was going to come and get us. And I was having flashbacks. And I got home, and she'd messages about something, and I just went mental on her. I told her where to go. Just fucking leave us alone. I want nothing to do with you. And even when I told her what had happened, you shouldn't have went off like that. You had no reason to go off like that with me. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. But we did manage to start getting back where I was going, staying with her a couple of days a week, over the space of a year and a half. And then in late 2019, she just decided I've had enough. And that was when she could contact with me. We were looking at that point where I was going to go back, but there was other factors what ended up stopping it. And that was the end of that. Would have been November 2019. I was served with the papers in 2021, and we got divorced. I think was it that summer, or was it this? I think it was that summer I got me the decree nice I went through. And she only, if I'd known this, I would have. If I'd known this, I would have been a right prick about it and not give her the divorce. She wanted the divorce so she could get remarried. That was what she wanted it for. Yeah. So if I could have been, if I'd realised that, I could have been an absolute prick and said, no, I'm going to make you wait. But I didn't. I even went to a solicitor. As well, and I said, look, I says, she's told lies. She's told fucking outright lies. Hey, this is an official document. That's perjury. What she's done is. I'm sure you on documents like that, you are not allowed to tell a lie on a document like that. And the solicitor said, "Yep, that's true. You're not. I'm sure it'd be classed as perjury." I said, "Can I do something about this? Can I fight what she's saying?" The solicitor says, "Well, yeah, you can. You'll put us on retainer, but it's going to cost you a lot of money." I was like, "She says, all you can do is just all you can do really. You can't afford it, so you have to accept it."
Yeah.
And that really broke my heart, having to accept the fact that, and it'll be on public record as well, that I am supposedly a child abuser. But the thing is, and I always said when I said to our family, if you think you can prove it, come at us, and come at us. If you think I've done any of that, come at us legally, and I'll destroy the lot of yous in a court. But they can't come at it. They cannot come at me, because they will be left out. In the end, they will be left out of court, and that's why our dad never did anything when he seen us in the shop, because he knows the truth. I mean, he was always one of these. He just wanted a peaceful life. He was just happy going along with what his wife said, just because he wanted a peaceful life.
That's don't like that. Don't like that one bit.
Yeah, I don't either. And he's actually said that to me before. All he wanted was a peaceful life, and he knew what was going on, and he knew it was all wrong as well. And he wouldn't stand up. He wouldn't stand up and do anything about it.
Extremely wrong.
Yeah.
I'm glad though that you did get out of it. You got the divorce,
Mm.
which leads on to this next question. Are there any steps that you took after the divorce that maybe helped, maybe not heal, but recover from that time, that loss of time?
I did start talking about my mental health around about that time. I used to blog, not that they were seen by many people, but I used to just write blogs and that. Around that time as well, I was working at Darlington Football Club, and there was a guy. What?
I went, ooh, I'm sure you've told me this.
Yes, I have. I probably have. I was working at Darlington Football Club. I was the mascot.
Brilliant.
And yeah, there was a player who came in called Liam Hughes. I'd love to know what he's doing now. Absolutely cracking gentleman. He's got mental health problems. He's again a suicide attempt survivor. And one of the secretary of the club put us one day. I went in one day, and he just, come here, David, and he took us up and introduced us to Liam Hughes. And I just looked at him and I hugged him. I'm like, thanks for this. I really need this. Is what I really need. And he said exactly the same as what we've just said before. You are not alone. Don't worry. So I'll give you my phone number. You're not alone. If you ever need to reach out, just give us a ring. And I have done a few times. But I haven't spoken to Liam now probably for about 4 or 5 years. I'd love to know what he's doing. But what also as well? Do you watch Coronation Street?
I do. I used
Can
to.
you remember? Can you remember when who was the X Factor? He was an X Factor winner. Shane. Somebody.
I know what you mean.
He played one of the Aidan. He played Aidan O'Connor or something.
Yeah.
Shane. What the hell's his name? Come on. Some of the people watching this will know his name.
Someone
Shane.
watching's got another Shane something. Oh, I know this is going to kill us.
Hold on. Hold on. I've got my other phone here. I need to know this now.
It's not Shane Dawson. It's
Come on, people. Help us out here before I go on. Before I go on Wikipedia.
Shane Ward.
Shane Ward. That's it. So I didn't watch it at the time, but Brian Shane Ward.
Really, Milligan.
Shane Ritchie. Yeah. So I was So yeah, someone put us on said go on YouTube, search Shane Ward's final scenes in Coronation Street. I remember watching it, and it showed him like he's sitting in the pub. The camera's just going round. There's no the sound. It's like from the sound from what's coming from his, like what he's hearing. The sound's all blurred out. He's looking round and looking at everyone. The sound's all blurred out, and I remember watching that and thinking to myself, like, I know how that feels. I know exactly how that feels. And then it showed him like ending his life and stuff like what he did, end his life and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, yeah, I've been there, and that sort of hit a nerve as well. At the same time, Coronation Street were also doing one with David Platt, where he was raped by a man. And I briefly touched on sexual assault earlier on, and watching his scenes and watching how the absolute devastation that causes, and hearing sort of like him, like he's obviously the character, not the real person, obviously the character talking about it, and thinking, yeah, that's sort of how I felt at the time, and how he opened up about it, and I just remember thinking, well, and yeah, I know it's fictitious. Obviously, I know it's fictitious. We're not watching a documentary here. But I reached out to Man Health at the time, and I was in with them for a bit, and they were able to help us sort of understand my feelings, just sitting talking, and not even talking about my problems, just sitting in a room with other grown men who were going through mental health problems. We didn't necessarily talk about our mental health problems or what we were going through. It was just being able to sit in a room with grown men, knowing that, yeah, I'm in the same boat as you, mate, and knowing that we were all in the same boat. And that would have been back in 2018, 19. But yeah, since then, I still have my moments. I had a big meltdown had a big meltdown recently. A few people watching this will know about that. Maureen, if you're still watching. Yeah. But yeah, since starting work last year, that's improved my mental health. That has improved my mental health. I have my moments. I'm always getting wrong at work. David, think for yourself. Just think for yourself. Use your initiative, David. Use your initiative. I'm always getting pulled for that. If you think something needs to be done, just go and get it done. Because I still have that self-doubt in myself.
Yeah.
That I'm not doing something right.
Nah, you're doing everything right, mate. You really
Yeah,
are.
I am. But there's always like that thing there saying, no, you're not. This isn't right, David. Stuff like it's always there. It'll always be there. People always ask us, do you still get suicidal thoughts? Answer to that is yes.
Davey starting work was something great to see happen as he has developed so much since.
Thank you, Taylor. That is Taylor.
I remember.
I love you a bit, mate.
I think it was outside the Plain Farmers venue in Sunderland sometime. It was either late 2023 or early 2024. You were telling me about your job or that you were going to get it, and I was over the moon for you. I remember talking outside the venue.
That would have been might have been just after I started last year, I think.
Yeah.
But Taylor, I love Taylor to bits. One of me stories that I remember telling Taylor. The first time I ever met Taylor, me and Taylor pretty much from the first time I met the man had a heart to heart, and I've loved the man ever since. He is within wrestling. He is one of my closest friends in wrestling, and I love Taylor. I love you to bits, mate.
Oh, there is. I love you so much, lad.
Yeah. One of the first things I ever asked Taylor was, "Do you smoke?" I'm sure that was the first thing that came out when I saw him. I think that was the first thing that came out.
His response might have been, but I don't want to say it on air.
Yeah, no.
Never changed, Davey.
Never changed. Thank you, Taylor. Yeah, I'm trying not to, Taylor. You don't change either, Taylor. And what you're doing now, buddy, for the Pride community, you're gonna absolutely smash it, mate. Absolutely smash it. And you don't need anyone behind you to do that. You're gonna go out there and absolutely you're gonna go out there, mate, and do the proud community. Do the proud community pride. Do the Pride community proud.
Yeah, the LGBTQ plus community. They are. They don't know what they're in for with Taylor, but they're gonna love it. I can tell you now.
Yeah, because there was a time when, after certain events, I became very, very homophobic. Very homophobic. And I remember someone sitting down and talking to us and saying, "Look, David, what happened to you was one person. You're persecuting a whole community because of the actions of one person. David, you're better than that. Think about it." And I was honestly when they said that, I was in floods of tears when they said that to us, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. I've been like persecuting the whole community for nothing, really. Not every gay man who approaches us is going to want to do things to us.
Yeah.
But that was my mindset at the time, because one person had that, everyone would. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was just like sort of like being brought back down to earth sort of thing.
Yeah. Can I just very quickly interject here? Because while you've been talking, I've been doing my own little independent research online.
Right.
I just want to point out how proud I am of you for this. I know it was years ago, 7 years ago now, 6-7 years ago. Mr. Q, I'm sure you'll recognize that name.
Mr. Q.
Great. More importantly, you, Davey, you braved the shave for Macmillan Cancer.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't even know that was. I didn't even know that would have been so. Is that on the Dalton website?
It is on the official DaltonFC.co.uk /news/Dave's Brave the Shave. Raises £370. those that know me know I'm a very, very big advocate for any cancer research whatsoever, supporting the patients or even going
Yeah,
towards a cure. I've got my own personal reasons for that. But I'm
yeah.
looking on here with a lovely picture of you there, Davey. Wearing the kit, and
Is there any chance you could put them out? I need to say this. Is there any chance you could put the picture up?
I can put the picture up.
Go on then. Then let's give
I
everyone a
can
laugh.
100% put that picture right. So it
Oh,
is
then let's have a laugh.
downloaded now. So this is titled Mr. Q, David Forster. Boom.
Oh my
Look at him.
God!
Look at him. Look at him.
Yeah, with a good head of hair there. Yeah. Oh my God.
Way.
Yeah, that was 2018. I'm trying to think who's on the other end. That's a cropped picture. That.
Yeah,
I'm trying
that's
to think
that's
who's on
the
the
one
other.
that's on the website there.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who's on the other end of that. It's either Tommy. It's either Tommy Miller, not Tommy Miller. Who was the manager at the time? Good man as well. Good man as well. Manager Dalton. It's either Tommy Wright or it's Sir Jeff Hurst. A fucking miserable man he was. Scored a hat trick.
Oh.
Scored a hat trick in the World Cup. He couldn't even He couldn't even crack a smile for us.
Taylor, experiences craft how we feel and think. Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, going back to Brave the Shave there. Yeah, that was when I was still on good terms with my ex-wife. When I very first met her, she was going through cervical cancer, I think it was.
Yeah, that's what it says on there.
In remission, and then it came on again. People thought I was a real nasty cunt at the time. Sorry, I hate that word. People thought I was a right nasty bastard at the time when I walked out, because a week later she was diagnosed. I'd walked out, and a week later she was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer, and I can remember thinking, "Oh fuck, I'm going to get it. I am going to get it big time here." Luckily, I didn't. She never made an issue of it, and I said to her, "I says, I'm going to do this. I'm going to brave the shave." She's like, "All right, cool. I'll do it for Matt Millen." So I got in touch with them, and they're like, "Oh, great." But then I'd started raising money, and I'd sent a message out to Darlow about it, saying I was doing it. A couple of the players even were in as well, from what I remember. Lad called, the hell was he? He was a good lad as well. Good lad as well. I can't remember who it was, but he put in. A couple others from the club put in. But Darlow approached us. The media guy, Ray Simpson, approached us. He says, "Do you fancy doing this during a game?" I went. I looked at the missus and I said, they want us to do this during the game. She's not a football fan, so she wasn't that fussed about it. She said, don't do it. I said, "No," I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Like, so I'm the mascot. So it's a platform. I said, "It's a platform." So I went and did it.
Is the name you were looking for Ben O'Hanlon?
Ben O'Hanlon. Yeah, that's it. Is it there? Is it? Is he on there? Is he?
Ben O'Hanlon, who was the very first to contribute.
That's it. Ben O'Hanlon. Good lad. I've never spoken to him for years either. So I went and did it. And we did it. They were playing Nuneaton. I'm not sure what they were called at the time. In fact, I didn't even know if they're still Nuneaton Town or Nuneaton Borough, I think they were called.
I do believe it was Nuneaton.
Yeah, we got beat 2-1 as well, so it wasn't a good. So it didn't end up being a good day. So even in the Nuneaton chairman, he threw, I think, 20 quid in as well.
Wow.
Which I was pleased about. So I haven't so much as watched out for them recently, but I used to look out for their results on the back of that. He didn't have to do that.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, I did it. It was just before Christmas. Not a time to shave your head. And
No.
I went all the way. I didn't just like shave it down, no guard. When we got back in the dressing room, I said to my dad, I says, "There's a pack of razors, get the rest off." So I went right down to the bone. And I think I was wearing a woolly hat for about 3 weeks after that.
Wow. Brilliant. I've got a few more questions here for you.
Right.
And I'm hoping these are going to provide strength and hope and help people move forward.
Yeah.
So 3 questions. The first one being, through absolutely everything that has happened to you in your life, what keeps you going?
These days, Casper, my son, definitely in my family as well. I mean, my mum's already lost one child. I don't care how old you are. You'll always be your mum. You're always your mum's child.
My mum
Always
says that all the time. You'll always
Yeah.
be mummy's boy.
Yeah, mummy's baby, mummy's baby. Mine normally says to me, you're not old enough for a smack.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. There's a story. Years ago, we went for me birthday. We went on a mini cruise to Amsterdam.
Lucky.
Yeah. I mean, how old I've been? 24, 25. So it went anyway. So I'm on the boat, and this young'un comes over, starts talking to us from Merton. Two lads from Merton meeting the bar.
Hey.
Two lads from Merton meeting the bar. What happens? Yeah. So we got absolutely fucking hammered. He was Hybrid. Thank you, Hybrid.
Thanks to see you,
Good
Hybrid.
man, love you to bits. Love
Congrats
Hybrid.
on finding a tag team partner, by the way, Hybrid.
Eh?
Hybrid finally found a tag team partner.
Woo! Who's his tag team partner? I haven't been watching a great deal.
It's Alfie Jackson.
Is it? All right. I think that'll be a good. I think that'll be a good team.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah. So we'll go to Amsterdam. I'm in the bar. This lad from Merton. He's in the army. He's going back to Paderborn. I think he was going to. So two lads from Merton meeting the bar. The worst happens. So I get back to the room where I was sharing with my mum and dad. There was no ensuite. I'm dying for the toilet. So I'd open the wardrobe, lob it out and pee in the wardrobe all over my dad's new jumper. My mum is then chasing us up and down the corridor on the ferry.
Wow. I will say David Forster is a genuine bloke and salt of the earth, you big stinky man.
I love you too, Hybrid. I love you too, mate.
Oh, God.
So yeah, and then we get to Amsterdam. We sat on the bus, and this is another thing I'm known for as well. We're sitting on the bus, and then when I wake up, there is nobody sat around us. Like, what's going on here? When I was asleep, I'd been farting away while I was asleep, and people had moved from around us.
I've heard stories of a Davy Dude thought, oh God.
Yeah. So has Mr. McEwen as well. Loves a good pump, that man. But yeah, sorry, I'm going off here. There's a guy, John.
Yeah.
What a guy he is.
That man does not realise how much he does for people and how much he is cared for. He honestly does not.
Yeah, he stepped when I had my little meltdown a couple of weeks ago. I mean, I haven't seen him for ages, but he sort of hypothetically put the arm around us, said, "Look, don't worry about it. We've got you." And it was just like, yeah, I needed to hear. That's what I need. I think that's what I needed to hear. And he stepped up when somebody else just didn't have the guts to fucking step up himself. It was John McEwen.
Sorry, don't forget to post the CSA. You know where I live. Say so.
Aye. You know what you can do. You know what you can do for that, Hans, don't you? But yeah, no. But no, McEwen. Like I've known the man. I've only known him for 5 years, 4 or 5 years. Not long in the grand scheme of things, but he stepped up for me when I needed it. Because at that time, I'll say it now. I was looking for a way out at that time, and I needed to hear that from John. All he had to say was, "I've got your back," and that's all I needed to hear. And he said that, and all wasn't good, but it just started to get better.
You have an army behind you, and fitting with the theme for Mental Health Awareness Week, you have a community behind you that are always here. Whether you reach out to them, whether they're going to reach out to you, whether you just want to chat shit. Sometimes that's the best thing. I can't tell you the amount of times.
I chat a lot of that.
I can't tell you the amount of times I've felt really, really shitty. It's been like 3 a.m. And everyone knows a lot of my friends are American. I've just inboxed one of them randomly. Hey, what are you up to? And I'll chat for them until the early hours. And it really, really helps having someone there.
Yeah, it just can. All you need to hear is someone say, "I'm here." So just drop us a message, no matter what the time. Just drop us a message, and that's just all you need to hear. And when you're having a bad time, even if you don't do it, you know it's there. So do you know what I mean?
Gonna need a community to hold him up until he shits. Then we're gone. I love that. I love you, Walker.
I love Walker as well. I don't care what. He's one of the funniest people I know. Him.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, even if someone will say to you, like, call us, just give us a call whenever you want, and even if you don't do it, you just know that it's there.
Yeah.
See with me, like I always used to say, like, there's people who said that to us, and then I've lost them, and then you think, if only I'd rang them, and that's hard as well. That's hard as well. Like, like there's been people in the past who said, Davey, if you want to reach out to us, if you want to go out for dinner or anything, just for a chat, just reach out. And I've never gotten the chance to do it because they've died, basically. And that's hard. That is hard.
I remember being downwind of a dude's fart once. I almost broke an early 20-year no puking streak. Oh. You may love me. You may love me, but you love my missus more, you little simp.
I do, yeah. I do.
If you had to pick between one or the other, I mean...
Pick between Anthony's last. I wouldn't be picking on. Yeah, but yeah. Where were we there? By the way, I'm getting lost now.
We're going on about what's keeping you going, and how you keep going through everything.
You guys keep us going. Like, when everything happened at the beginning, I don't really want to get too much into this, but when everything happened at the beginning of the year, that was when I'd started to get lost again. And then when I had my crisis and I reached out to certain people, and it was the one person who stepped up, and I said, yeah, I'm with you all the way. Fuck the rest of them. And that was in the last 2-3 months. That's what John has kept us going for the last 2 or 3 months, basically. Just by saying, we've got you. You've got friends here. Take no notice what anyone else says. We've got your back. If you're in the shit, we've got your back. And
thing with Davey as well, when he's in the moment, he's amazing, but the self-doubt he has beforehand is crazy. He just needs to believe in himself a bit more.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah,
you do.
Yeah, I get that. Like, and I think when we've done stuff with McEwen in the past, like filming and stuff like that, we've had those moments like where you know you can do that. You know you can do this. Just go and do it. And it's I know once I like now before I came on, I was shitting myself doing this, about to do this, but then once I've got into it, it's just come natural. It's the same if I'm cutting a promo. I will be crapping myself for hours about having to do, what am I meant to do? Where do I have to be? What do I want to say? I can be about to do a live 5 minutes before. I still don't know what I'm going to say, but then I'll click that, go live.
No, 5 minutes before a live, you're fucking off for a tab.
Having a tab. Yeah, thinking about what I have to say. But when I click that, it was always when I clicked that go live button, just came to us like that. Most of the time I didn't even need, like, when I was doing stuff with James in the past, he was meticulous. James was meticulous. You know what James is like. He was meticulous. He would write a lot of stuff down, but whereas I didn't need that. I would back in the early pandemic days, I would text McEwen and say to McEwen, like, what do you think I should be saying? And he would give us some pointers, and then I would go and I'd be shitting myself, but then I would go and do it. I would go and do it flawlessly, Mr. 657.
Davey dude's never known a guy with so many takes when filming. Now you've got to get it right. Got to get it right.
Yeah. Well, that was James. That was James's thing, and there'd be sometimes like I'd be thinking, oh, what a great one we got through that, and then James would watch it. He'd be like, no, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. Let's do it again.
Hey.
But Colin, is another bloke I love dearly. Me and Colin have been at it in CCW. I remember the time when I was the original Davy Dudes and he was the Elite. Him and Sean. Did you know Sean?
I didn't know him, unfortunately, but the second I arrived, all the
Yeah,
stories.
you got to know him through the stories. And I loved Sean absolutely to bits. That when he died, that was a hard one. But anyway, I'll get back to that in a minute. And some of the stuff we did, like Sean when they kidnapped me down at Seam, down at Dordon.
The car journey.
Yeah, the car journey, Colin. Yes, the car journey. When you were trying to make me break, and you were telling Sean if he breaks, hurt him, weren't you, Colin? Admit it. But on the car journey, James had give Colin a simple instruction. He said, "Follow Lee." Lee was on his bike at the time. Follow Lee. So we're coming up through. Do you know Dalton Jail at all?
I don't know the area that well.
Come through Dalton Jail. You get to the church, get to the top of the bank, and we were told just follow Lee. So Lee, we get to the top of the bank. Lee turns left to go to Merton. We turn right to go up towards the West Lee. And then we get a phone call like, "Where are you? Where are you?" And we'd ended up like going up towards where the Wesley Sports Bar is, where he does his shows. But yeah, it all went well. But you remember Sean used to say to me, like, he got us one night when we're doing Dudes Mania live, and he was getting us. I can't remember what the move was. We was getting us in.
Twist his arm,
start smiling. Yeah, that was it. And he got us in there in the arm. I can't remember what lock it was. I can't remember. Kimura lock, was it the Kimura lock? I'm not sure. But he had us in it, and he's like, and I said to him, I says, "Look," he said to me, he says, "I don't want to put too much pressure on. I don't want to hurt you." I'm like, "Sean, just do it. Don't amp it up. Don't like cinch it in too much. Just put a bit of pressure on, so I know that it's on." And Sean, just a gentle giant. I miss him. When he died, I remember James. I was sat in Costa at the time. I just bought me a cup of coffee, and James said to me, he says, "Are you sitting down?" When someone says, "I think you need to sit down for this," you know what something bad's coming. Yeah. And he said, "Look," he said, "I don't know the full details, but I think Sean's died." I'm like, "What?" He says, "Yeah." He says, "That's the word going round. I think Sean's died. Don't tell anyone yet." And I can remember walking out of Costa, looking at this cup of coffee in my hand, and I just screamed. I just paid like about £3.50 for a cup of coffee. I just threw this cup of coffee down, stormed up Church Street. And the last time I'd seen Sean, this was another moment when I had a bit of a meltdown. And we're walking up past Wetherspoons, and the Wetherspoons was the last place I'd seen Sean. I'm just looking at Wetherspoons, and I nearly fell to my knees crying. That was horrible. And I've probably still got the video somewhere. I've probably still got my tribute video to him somewhere. Yeah, gentle giant, big miss, really big miss.
Like I say in there, Sean made everyone look small.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. The first time I ever met him, I remember saying to him, "Sean, when I first met you, obviously, because I think the first time we met him, we were about to do some filming and that, and he looked menacing." Valentine's Day, lunchtime. Yeah, it was. Yeah, 2023, 22, maybe 2022 or 23. It was Valentine's Day anyway. And I remember looking at Sean like, and I'm thinking, "Fucking hell, like, look, he's menacing him." Yeah, he did. He definitely did. He's fucking menacing, that man. Look at the side. Look at the size of him. And I put my hand out to shake his hand, and I'm saying, "Fucking, can I have my hand back? Can I have my hand back? Like, I think I'm going to need an X-ray on my hand here." I had a really firm handshake. That I can remember telling him, and he used to laugh about. I would say to him like, "Hi, Sean. When I first met you, I was not half intimidated by you. You were like a monster." But the first time I'd met him, we were about to go into filming, so he was probably in that sort of filming mode at the time. Big gentle giant, absolute star. And when he died, like, I lost it. That was a real hard one to deal with. Like someone so young. He's only I'm 43. He was probably about a year older than I am now, 44, 45 maybe when he died. Horrible.
I mean, I've heard so many stories about Sean, but the one I always hear first, and I think it was the one the first story I ever heard was by John, and it was during a training session. Lily got her hair stuck on some Velcro or something. I think it was on the crash mat. And he very carefully picked a hair out of the Velcro so he
Yeah,
wasn't
so
tugging
you
it
didn't
too
hear
hard.
that. Yeah.
I've heard that story so many times now, but I think it's testament to just how kind of a soul Sean really was.
Yeah, the best. Another one about that is we're down the churchyard one day. Were we Pandemus at the time? I can't remember if we were Pandemus at the time or whether it was just still me and the pandemic. I think it was still me and the pandemic priests, and we're having a big brawl with the priests. Were having a brawl with Ronnie, now Don Bronson, and Sean down in the churchyard. Chrissy Walker was dressed up as one of the priests. And James had found this log. He said, Sean, flat in with that, will you? When you at some point. So
Colin just said the branch.
The branch. Yeah. So Sean's looking at it, and Chrissy's looking at it, and I don't think it'll smash up. I don't think this is going to smash over his back. James, it will. Don't worry about it. It will. Chrissy's saying as well, I don't think it'll smash over my back. Oh, it will. Let's do it. It'll look mint. So we get to it. What happens? He smashes him over the back with it. Doesn't break. But before that, you're just saying about Sean being gentle. Before that, he kept saying to Chrissy, like, I won't hit you too hard. I don't want to hurt you. I like you. I don't want to hurt you. I like you. And that was Sean. That was just Sean to a T. That so gentle.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've got two more questions here for you, Davey.
Right. Go on.
This next one is for the people. What do you wish that more people watching or people who are going to watch this? What do you wish more people would understand about long-term mental health issues?
Well, back in the day, it would have been.
That makes you sound old, mate.
No, I'm starting to sound like my grand. I'm starting to sound like my granddad now. Back in my day, like I could go to the football match for 50 pence and still come home with change and get 10 beers on the way home. Like my granddad. No, back in the day, I would have said like, we're not mad. We do have something wrong with us. Mental health is not. Don't let it define. Don't let it define you. Don't let it be who you are. Does that make sense?
It makes complete sense.
Yeah. Just yes, you've got something wrong with you. You've got something wrong with your mind. You might not function. You might think. I always say I don't function the way my mind doesn't function the way most of the minds thinks. But just be yourself, basically.
Yeah.
Best version of yourself. Be the best version of yourself.
Yeah. Cannot argue with that one bit.
Yeah.
Not one bit. This last question. It's more of a message from you to everybody. Finally, for someone who has felt completely lost, alone, broken, to others who might feel lost, alone, or broken, what message would you like to leave them with?
I think we've already said it before. Don't suffer in silence. That's the main one. There is always somebody out there who will help you. There's always someone out there you can talk to. Even if they don't understand what you're going through, reach out. Even if they don't understand what you're going through, they might know somebody who does understand what you're going through. But the main thing to take away from this, and I said it at the beginning, I've said it to you as well. If there's just one person I know we've had lots of viewers, but if there was just one person watching and they took something away from it, then we've done a good job. But the main message is don't suffer in silence. No matter how hard it gets, Don't do the things I did. Don't go and sit on a railway bridge. Don't go and shove tablets down your throat. Don't cut. Things like that. It's no release. It's no release at all. Don't do that. If that's where you're at, if that's where your mind's at, just reach out to somebody. Me, DJB, anyone who's watched this. If you could just drop into their inbox.
Yeah, that's my friend Becky.
Yeah.
Becky doesn't know any of you guys, but there's another there. It's community, man. It can be a very powerful thing.
Yeah, it can be. But yeah, the main thing to take away from this is don't suffer in silence. It's not worth it. It gets you nowhere. And you don't just. You may think you're better off. Not here. You're not. You're valued. You're loved. If you think you're in that darker place where you think you're better off dead, that's just. Yeah, I've been there. It's not nice. Yeah, you're not. I'm sorry. I'm stumbling over my words. I know what I need to say, but it's hard to say it. I think you know what I'm getting at, though.
I do, and I'm pretty sure everybody watching knows what we're getting at.
Yeah.
So this is the point where I'm going to say thank you very much for coming on here, telling your story, your experiences, giving people your advice. But this is the part of the show where you have free reign, Davey. Say whatever you want to whoever you want, whether it's something we've covered, whether it's something we've missed out. It can be about anything else. This is your time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this journey, 35 years. I did, as I said, I started a few years ago making blogs and stuff like that. I don't think they were read by a few people, but not many. But there's been times when I thought it was utterly hopeless. There was no hope whatsoever. There's been times I've nearly died. There's been times I've been in some sticky situations. There was a time in 1998, 97, 98, I think it was, 98, when I ended up in intensive care in Sunderland Hospital. I took an overdose, and it was, again, the doctor, I remember the psychiatrist saying, it was like, you are lucky, David. You are really lucky you didn't die. In fact, the psychiatrist said, he says, 20 more minutes. If that ambulance had took 20 more minutes, I don't know if the doctor was trying to scare us into changing me ways. It didn't really, because I still had a lot of problems after that. But the doctor said to me, he says, 20 minutes, if that ambulance was 20 minutes later, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Whether that's true, whether it's not, I take that to be true anyway. I've always lived with the fact that I was 20 minutes away from dying, basically. But nearly 30 years later, I'm still here. I'm still fighting.
Wow.
Everyone who's tried to put us down, from the bullies, from school teachers, I'm still here. I'm not the failure like you said I would be. Yes, I spent many years battling this. Finally, I've turned it around. And I think I'd like to leave it on that.
Well, I can't think of a more perfect way to finish this. Davey, thank you very, very much for coming on here, explaining all of your story, your journey, your experiences. Thank all of you for tuning in. Those of you who are going to come and tune in afterwards. But how
many viewers have we had on it? Do you get a view count?
So I do get a total viewer count, but I don't like to tell people on air how many we're watching.
Right. Well, send a message afterwards. Send a message afterwards, and tell us how. I'm really dying to know how many people
Say
I've
it
had
loud.
watching.
I will say it loud, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. But the last thing I am going to leave you all with is help is available. If you feel you need to speak with someone, whether it's the Samaritan, whether it's the, I'm going to say unalive, whether it's the unalive hotline, whether it's Davey, whether it's me, whether it's a friend, whether it's just a stranger, there's always somebody who is willing to listen and willing to
Yeah.
help.
Mind saying
And
that, sorry, quickly before I go there, I used to find back in the days of MSN Messenger. I'm sure me age again. I used to have friends MSN Messenger, and I wouldn't talk to people about it, but I used to find reaching out to strangers quite good because I didn't see them from day to day. So
yeah,
I always found that was it's probably the same with you when you say you reach out to your friends in America. You don't see them day to day, so it makes it a little bit easier to talk about.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. I think my American friends know more about me than some of my friends who are over here, who live up the street.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Davey, for the third time, thank you.
Thank you.
It's been an honor. You've gone through this such a hard journey in life, but like you said, you are still standing. Fuck the haters. You are David Forster. You are Davey Dudes. You are the fucking man, and you always will be. You've got all of these people behind you. Ladies and gentlemen,
thank you.
I've been DJ B, King of Media. That's been David Forster, the absolute legend. If you need to talk,
thank you for listening and giving us the outlet to tell the story.
Anytime. And if anyone needs to talk, please 116-123 for the Samaritans. Reach out today, and we will see you next time for another Behind the Curtain. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.